We've seen several instances where you're doing a little tree planting now.
Yeah, there's 4 magnolia trees are being replaced. 2 that died on the square. One on the east side of the square behind the courthouse actually snapped in half in the recent windstorm. And then this one behind me, a motorist ran into it the other day and killed it. So we're just replacing them all at once.
There's not much you can do about Mother Nature and a driver that has problems, but the ones that died, you expect a certain amount of...
Well, we did expect a certain amount, but they keep dying in these same 2 spots, and if these 2 don't make it, we're going to plant a different type of tree. I think it's an issue of surface water just being too close to the roots. I'm not certain. We'll see if these take, because magnolia trees is kind of a theme down here. And if they don't, we'll just have to... You'll see a couple other spots on the square where we couldn't keep magnolia trees going, and we put bald cypress there instead, and they're doing fine. So we'll see how this goes.
Did you get some kind of tree expert to do an autopsy for you to decide what killed these trees?
We've had a tree expert down here to do autopsies before, and we weren't too impressed with this result, so we're just figuring that out ourselves.
It's pretty good evidence if you keep planting the same kind of tree in a certain spot and it keeps failing, then you might want to try something.
Yeah, and I'm not so sure we shouldn't have gone ahead and replaced it with bald cypress this time, but we'll see.
Is magnolia, is it kind of a temperamental tree to kind of keep alive?
Well, it really hasn't been on any of these trees on Main Street. They've just thrived, and Conley Street did as well, and most of them on the square. So I don't think they're temperamental. We haven't had a bad experience except for a couple of locations.
Yeah, just something I guess when you're in the tree business, you want them for beauty and everything. You just got to live with a few of them that don't make it.
Yeah, and the older the tree is when you transplant it, the longer it stays in shock. They say if it's 6 years old when you transplant it, it'll be in shock for roughly 6 years, and that works out about right. We've noticed in the last year that the magnolias on Main Street have really taken off. Well, if you remember, we did Main Street in 2008. And so that's 6 years ago. And in this last year, we've noticed that they're a lot taller, and the spread of the bulbs on them is a little more sparse because we're having to make adjustments. So I think in the next few years, you'll see all of the magnolias starting to take off.
What's the prognosis over like in Buford Park or Coleman or bulk of, you haven't lost a lot of trees? I know we did when there was a drought a couple
years ago. We have lost them from time to time, and I talked to the Parks and Rec director this year. We're going to start planting 5 or 6 trees every year out there to replace some of the oaks that we've lost. It isn't looking sparse yet, but it will if this keeps up. This year was a good year, and I think this winter is a good time to plant some more trees.
I think the parks guys at some point they go through and kind of mark the ones that probably going to need removal, and then they do that later on.
That's a wintertime activity. But notice when you're in Buford Park that there are new trees, especially in and around the 2 new baseball fields across the parking way from the swimming pool. There's some black gum trees out around the perimeter, and some other various types of trees between the fields, and so they can be really colorful this time of year.
I guess among all your other duties, being a tree expert is another one, right?
Well, I don't know that I'm an expert, but I know more about it than I ever wanted to know.